We adored Bill Cosby as viewers, as people who would know him through his comedy albums and who watched his brilliant career.
We basically talked to Bill about doing what he was talking about in his monologues, about taking that point of view and putting it into a half-hour comedy form.
Tom and Marcy convinced Bill that he should play in the family comedy world. And as Marcy would describe it, she said, there's a war going on in the living room. This is about a father who says, I'm not losing that war. And that's a war between parents and teenagers.
One of the great things about the show was that it really wasn't a story-driven show. It was really a character-driven show. And often the slimmest of stories were our most powerful.
They came from Bill's life. And we freaked out when we initially heard that the second episode was going to be about Rudy's goldfish died. And they were going to flush it down the toilet. And to flush or not to flush, that is the dilemma.
He come from work and say, at home today, one of my daughters was opening all the box of some such because she wanted to find the little present in them. And so all these cereal boxes would be wasted. Well, we do a whole scene about that. And it had nothing to do with the show, but it was so familiar.
I think NBC was very nervous that these small little stories that only talked about human behavior, I think they were very nervous about that working.
Everyone was smart enough to say, ultimately, the vision here is Bill Cosby.
What Bill did in being authentic was show that people are much more alike than we could ever be different. People all over the world have children. People all over the world are having to rear these children in this age of technology.
Yes, it was an African-American family where dad was a doctor and mom was a lawyer. And guess what? Just because they were successful didn't mean there weren't tons of problems to work out.
When the show first came out, we had 3 strikes against us. One, the critics said no one was going to watch a sitcom about an upper middle class black family. 2, we were going up against Magnum P.I., which was the #1 show at the time. And 3, the sitcom genre was pronounced all but dead.
The top 10 shows on primetime television were all dramas. There really was a general belief that comedy was dead. Nobody had a better barometer for what was real and what was honest than Bill Cosby.
It was an instant hit. I mean, it surprised us. It was #1 from the get-go, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was #1. It was the highest rated show of the week.
It changed the fortunes of NBC.
NBC went from getting a 10 share on Thursday nights to a 50 share, and it went throughout the evening. Cheers, which was languishing, was all of a sudden a big hit. Family Ties was all of a sudden a big hit, and I think people began to see that it really wasn't about the forum, it was about the idea itself.
Once NBC used Cosby as the lead-in and put those shows behind Cosby, Michael J. Fox became a movie star. Ted Danson became the man. Without Bill Cosby, you would not have had Roseanne Barr. You would not have had Seinfeld.
Bill and Marcy and Tom with that show, they taught us a lot. And America rewarded them.